Shut up. I thought Wigan showed a lot of spur. No, that was Lee. Where am I up to? Jake Sharrock looks like he's about 12, but didn't seem out of place, and Charnley ran the ball hard. Scoots28 Max said, not sure if following it on Twitter made it more or less exciting, but it was fascinating. Sets up for a grandstand end to the season. And Paul Ludo Lewis said, I know I sound bitter, but half fucking hard. Love it. There you go. Lots of lovely feedback, and thank you to everybody who got in touch on that. It was a good fun game to watch and be tweeting about as well. From my point of view, Saturday afternoon mark, and the Catalan Dragons took on the Castleford Tigers. It was 34 points to 28 in favour of the visiting side from West Yorkshire, and David Solomona set himself a little try-scoring record in the process.
Yeah, he gets them put on a plate for him though, doesn't he, the lad? He tried to make the second one hard work.
He definitely needs to give a lot of credit to Jake Webster and Luke Gale, doesn't he?
Yeah, and a bit of Dawn porn as well on the side. But you can't question.
He's like the good-looking boy in a boy band, isn't he? Like the rest of them are probably the talented singers who do all the good, and then there's just the one eye candy one that all the girls go. He's like that one, isn't he? He's like your Mark Owen, and Jake Webster's your Gary Barlow.
Okay.
Do you think? Or are you just pretending not to know?
I think Jake Webster's more your Jason Orange.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Does that mean Luke Gale?
I think Luke Gale's your Gary Barlow.
Yeah, that's it. Who's the Robbie Williams though? Paul McShane. Dawn's the Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
In that left edge.
He's going to be going soon, and fair enough.
In that glorious left edge of Castleford.
It's not as easy as you might think equating Take That members to Castleford Tigers left side players, is it?
I think we got there.
We did it in the end. Right. So, what did you make of this one then?
It's kind of what we've seen from Catalan for a long time, and almost every home game this year you felt like they could lose it in this way, or they could win it in the way that they played in the last 10 minutes or the last 15 minutes. I don't know what's wrong with them. I know what's wrong with them in terms of injuries, but Castleford have got as many, if not more.
Yeah. Their season has been summed up in this game for me. Like fits and starts, they look phenomenal, and when they get it right, they look like a top four side. But it doesn't happen often enough, and for whatever reason, that they're lacking in that consistency in their execution. Now, injuries do play a part in that, and I'm not going to say that Catalan have had it by any stretch of the means easy in terms of some of the injuries that they've had. But when you're up against a side that are
Wigan could finish in
comparable,
the top two and have had as many injuries, if not more.
Which is, I'm saying, you can't blame injuries.
No, yeah.
So, particularly when you look at this game, when they're coming up against a side, as you say, who have had probably, the worst of the injuries out of, certainly in the top 4 or 5 out of Super League 2s this season for the effective personnel that they've lost. It just goes to show that there is something in Catalan that's not allowing them to put together 80 minutes, or even 40 minutes, really.
Yeah, it's not. I'd be very frustrated as a Catalan Dragon fan this season with what the team promised. With they started really well, then they scratched around for a bit, and then they battered Hull KR, and you sort of thought, hold on, they've worked it out.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks after that, the season fell apart. Yeah. Really.
Oh yeah, that's it. So. Yeah, congratulations to David Solomona. David Solomona? Denny Solomona.
Denny Solomona, yeah. It's been a great performance. I prefer to call it like a Super League tries in the season rather than regular season.
Yeah.
I don't really see Super 8s as the regular season. I think they are for the purpose of this stat. But its tries per game ratio is very similar to what Vinacolo did in that year.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, what more can you say about him? I hope he stays in Rugby League in Tigers colours for years to come. The kid's only 22, isn't he?
I know. He's got another potentially 10 years of playing at the highest level ahead of him. So yeah, congratulations, and a good find by London, who brought him over to this country as well.
True. Another young player who impressed as well in this one was Ben Crooks. Not quite so young anymore, but came off the bench and played on the left centre. And I've only ever seen him play bad on the left centre in his sort of latter Hull days, when they were sort of trying to pull back out of him what he'd shown in that debut season, and he wasn't showing it wherever they put him on the pitch. But yeah, that take for the try from the kick was phenomenal. I thought you can question the positioning or whatever, but of the Catalan side. But I don't think that's what it was. I think it was a really, really great take from a well-timed play. And
yeah, he's had a good first year back in British Rugby League, hasn't he? And I think he suits playing under someone like Daryl Powell. I think Daryl Powell will get the best out of him, and he's definitely learnt from his time down under as well. I think the experience of being at Parramatta and operating within those Aussie training regimes and stuff like that will have done him good, because I think it shows a lad who perhaps maybe started to believe his own hype a little bit, what actually is necessary to kick on and
definitely
have a successful career as a pro, and he's brought elements of that back with him, and that's evidenced by some of his performances for Castleford.
Mm-hmm.
So what did the stats tell us about this one then, Mark?
The home side tackled better and made ground at a better average. They were also better disciplined on the penalty count, if not the card count, because obviously there was the Ben Garcia simbing in for a little bit of slapping around the face of Jake Webster. It wasn't pretty, but it wasn't that bad.
It's easily stamped out, isn't it? Quick card.
And he'd started to actually look.
We have a good couple of games, hadn't he, Ben Garcia? Yeah.
He's not a centre. Next year, I hope they use him at the back of the pack, and that I think is his best position.
Yeah.
Okay. So 5 more handling errors was a big factor against the Catalan side, though, after all those stats that they won on. As well as that, Castleman's attack was much more incisive. They made twice as many breaks as Catalan did, 8 breaks to 4.
There you go. Individually, who stood out for us?
Paddy Flynn grabbed 2 tries. He started it all off. 106 metres as well, 2 clean breaks. Ben Crooks, his 2 tries, we talked about him a little bit, 100 metres, 2 clean breaks. Luke Gale had 3 try assists in this game. He just controls things in that Castleford side.
Yeah.
It's almost... You kind of want to see him in an England shirt, but you don't want it to cost us anything if he isn't up to scratch, because for so many years he was not... I was always a fan of his, as you know, but...
The problem is that for so many years he played behind a beaten pack, Mark.
He plays in a structure that's designed around his strengths, and would the England structure work that way?
I think if you get potentially that group of forwards laying that sort of a platform for a guy like O'Gale, that the way he can game manage and the way he can put a team around the park,
and he's a very good goal kicker too.
Exactly, I think there's a lot of uptick to giving him a go. Now, whether it's in the game that we play in the run up, or whether it's in the game against Scotland or whatever, I'd like to see him get used, because I think he could add.
We need to find out, don't we? We need to find out.
Of course you do. There's no point in
form up a level. Yeah.
There's absolutely no point in just sticking him in the squad and letting him hang around with everybody. If he's there in the halfback, he needs to be able to go.
I'd have him ahead of Sneyd anyway, in terms of the 2 on the rails up and comers in the halfback position from the Super League this year. I'd have Gale ahead of Sneyd, because Gale's done it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I'm not sure why, because Sneyd's team's at the top of the table, and all. I guess there's more people. I don't know.
Sneyd's a really good kicking game. I think Gale has more widespread creativity.
Yeah, you're gonna get more passes out of Gale than people in I suppose.
Oliver Holmes, one of the unsung men.
My favourite players, Oliver Holmes.
120 metres for him.
Fabulous.
For Catalan, Choni Gigo, the leg of lamb.
We know what that means.
A try assist. 5 tackles, 152 metres for the Frenchest Frenchman around. Vince Duport, 125 metres. Julien Bousquet, 105 metres, 3 successful offloads. And then slipping it on the end is Elwar with a try and a try assist from our little boy.
Squeezing in your little friend there, aren't you? Fair enough. Fan reviews then.
Whenever we're watching Catalan, which Emma says is all the time, because Catalan
we're on more television than anyone else.
She says, "Is that your boyfriend?" when Elwar comes on.
And do you say, "Well, yes, it is"?
Say, "He's not my boyfriend."
Well, just a boy who's my friend. All right, God. That makes it even worse if you denying it. I'd have just played up to it. Alan Walker, right, where do we start with this one? Okay, with Bentham on the whistle today, this goes one way. Even with the patched up side, we should have done better though. No Toddy or Bosco, so only Gift at halfback, brackets Myler doesn't count. Cass switched...
set up a try, Myler did.
There you go. Cass switched off after the biff, soft. I keep expecting to see our players on the beach. That's where their heads are. At least the young players are getting good experience for the Elite One, which starts next weekend at Le Magique. No winter off. Man of the match was the leg of lamb, Visca Drax, he goes on to say.
I thought they were moving the French league season to sort of combine a bit more with
with ours.
Yeah.
Perhaps not.
No.
Perhaps not. Alan is...
He knows more than us, yeah.
He's in the know, isn't he? Right, Tyler Cass fan. The roller coaster life of a Cass fan, right there in one game. We were having fun, giving the fat not fit brigade the run around for 65 minutes, then a tense last 15, but all good in the end. Good efforts from Minikin, Crooks, Patrick and Gale. Solomon's try record is the icing on the top. Craig Malson gets in touch. Good to hear from you, Craig. He says, Craig, the ex-Pat Cass fan here. Great win by Tigers away in France, especially as we are only in the playing for pride portion of the Super 8s. On that, would love to hear again your thoughts on the format. Seems to me the top four has been nailed on for a few weeks now. We have been in great end of season form, yet have had pretty much next to no chance of making the top four from the start. Maybe you guys and listeners can discuss options for making the top eight a proper playoff with everyone having a chance. Otherwise, what's the point? This is a good idea, isn't it? Good time as any. Go for it.
I'm almost fed up of stating my point because it's never going to change really. This isn't the format of the league structure that I would most heartily support.
Yeah.
But do you remember before we started this podcast, and maybe a bit lingering into the first year because it was under the old format, but we knew about the new format arriving early doors in that first year of this podcast, didn't we? Do you remember when Leeds Rhinos won the title from 5th?
Yeah.
And it was a fucking hoo-ha.
Yes.
How can this happen? How can a team be so rubbish? Do you remember when like an 8th place team beats a 5th place team? How's this fair? A team in the bottom half of the table get to compete in the playoffs?
Of course, people like to make the argument that suits their point.
It's rugby league fans, and this isn't aimed at Craig, this is aimed at all of us.
Yeah,
all of us. We all do this. Yeah. The only way to sort this out is not by letting Castleford have a chance of winning the title from finishing 6th in the regular season. It's by having Castleford have the opportunity to have the same access to money to buy players and pay wages, training facilities, set up, all of that, all the sorts of player welfare stuff that comes in around the back of all that, that the setups of clubs like Wigan, Leeds, St Helens, Hull have. That's the only way to solve this. Give everyone the same amount of spending ability and not cry when your team has a game. And I'm not saying Craig's doing this, because I'm saying this is the general thing. Not cry when your team are in a game that doesn't mean as much.
Yeah.
Because what we've seen in these Super 8s is it's a load of old crap that games don't matter. The only games that haven't mattered, weirdly, are the games between two teams where it hasn't really mattered.
Yeah.
Now this matters to Castleford because they want to finish 5th. They want to finish highest they possibly can, and that's the right attitude. And before this weekend's games were finished, every team but Wakefield had an opportunity to change position.
Yeah. So
next week.
Yeah.
But then Witness's result didn't go their way.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. In the current format, with the current way that things divide up at the end of regular season, you can't have the team. I know what some people are alluding to is that, well, why don't we just put everyone back to 0? The only reason that happens in the middle eights is because it has to by necessity, because you've got teams coming up from the Championship with, between 30 and 40 points playing against teams coming down from Super League with between 8 and 10. So that has to start from 0, and actually that middle eights this time round, and to a certain degree last year as well, but this time particularly.
No, last year there was one win over a...
There were still permutations going on, though, is what I'm saying. So last year saw...
It was only exciting. Last year it was only exciting by the existence of £1 million game. This year it's been exciting.
Perhaps through Bulls tinted glasses then.
Because there was 6 teams. There's been 6 teams competing for the promotion spots. Last year, the Super 8s was exciting because of the chase for the League Leaders Shield, and this year we have a showdown, a final, as it were, for the League Leaders Shield,
which is exactly right.
Which is thrilling. It's exciting.
You can't have a league system where everything counts equally up until the very last game. By its very nature of competition, teams will rise to the top and the cream will come to the top, and then that's where it's just not going to happen.
There's no league structure that exists that's like that. Why do rugby league fans seem to think that we should have one?
Yeah.
It's nonsense. It's utter nonsense.
That's it.
Sorry.
Well, look at what we've got on TV.
Sorry to pull this off the back of Craig's thing. Yeah, Craig asked us to talk about it, and I think it's utter nonsense.
I agree with you. Look at what we've got on at the moment. We've got NFL on in the background in the TV, right?
Yeah, we have.
There's going to be teams.
Here we go, Steeler.